Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to peel back the hood on the auto industry to look at one of the biggest, most fundamental shifts happening right now. And it's not on the road, it's in the massive, complex network that actually builds the cars we drive. Okay, let's just dive right in. For about a century, building a car was kind of like putting together a model train on a single, straight track. It was a linear chain. A car maker orders parts from supplier A, who gets their stuff from supplier B, and on it goes. It was simple, transactional, and honestly pretty slow to react to anything. Well, that entire model is being blown up and replaced by a digital and intelligent ecosystem. It's a dynamic, interconnected web that's collaborative, powered by data, and get this, it can even predict what's coming next. All right, so to really get our heads around this massive change, here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to define what this new ecosystem actually is. Then, we'll break down the 4 big pillars that make it all work. After that, we'll look at how the industry is actually measuring its progress. And finally, we'll check out the ambitious timeline to make all this a reality. So, first things first, what are we even talking about when we say the supply chain is turning into an ecosystem? What does that really mean? Well, this new digital and intelligent supply chain, it isn't just about ordering parts for an assembly line anymore, not even close. We're talking about a system that manages the entire life of a vehicle, from the very first spark of an idea in R&D, through manufacturing and all its years of service, all the way to recycling when it's done. And the lifeblood connecting every single one of those stages is data. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because we're talking about a fundamental shift in mindset. Suppliers are no longer just vendors filling an order. The whole relationship is moving away from a simple transaction to a real partnership. They're becoming co-creators, literally working side by side with car makers, sharing the risks, but also sharing the rewards. Okay, so how does an incredible transformation like this actually happen? It's definitely not magic. It's built on 4 really distinct foundational pillars. The first pillar is the supply chain ecosystem itself. Think of this as the bedrock, the foundation. It's all about completely redesigning the very structure of how all these different companies work together, moving from these isolated links in a chain to one big integrated web. You know that old saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link? That's the old way. One problem and the whole production line could grind to a halt. This new approach, though, it's a resilient, networked web. It connects car makers, suppliers, software developers, logistics firms, you name it. And this shared platform lets data flow freely, which creates a system that can actually organize itself and adapt to shocks. You know, like the massive chip shortages that crippled the industry not too long ago. Pillar number 2 is collaborative R&D innovation. This is all about smashing the old silos and completely rethinking how cars are designed from the very beginning. So, the crucial point here, the big game changer, is that we're moving from a world where hardware was king to one where hardware is actually defined by software. Just think about your smartphone. The physical phone is designed to be super flexible so it can be updated constantly with new software, new features. While the auto industry is now adopting that exact same model, designing sensors and chips together so they can evolve over the car's entire lifetime through software updates. Our third pillar is smart supply. This is where all that digital intelligence we've been talking about gets its hands dirty in the real world, moving actual parts and materials all across the globe. This is what makes the whole physical supply process intelligent. Manufacturing lines become so agile, they can build completely different models, one after the other. Every single component gets its own digital fingerprint, so everybody in the network knows exactly where it is, right now. And maybe the coolest part, data from your car's service appointments can feed directly back to the engineers, helping them improve the next version of that exact part. It's a constant feedback loop. And that brings us to the 4th and final pillar, AI empowerment. This is the brain. This is the intelligence that powers the entire system, connecting the ecosystem, the R&D, and the physical supply chain all together. This slide just perfectly illustrates the ultimate goal. It's a continuous, intelligent loop. The system senses what's happening across the entire network, it analyzes all that data, it makes a decision, and then it executes on it, all of that happening in real time. We're talking about a system that doesn't just follow orders, but can actually learn, adapt, and evolve all on its own. Okay, so this all sounds fantastic in theory, but how does a company know where it is on this journey? How do they measure their progress? Well, the industry is using something called a maturity model to benchmark themselves. The iMsH model basically has 4 levels. Level 1 is that old, linear chain we talked about, maybe with a few basic digital tools. Level 2 is a network system where you start to see real collaboration. Level 3 is a truly collaborative network, with deep connections between companies. And the ultimate goal, the holy grail, is Level 4, the co-creative ecosystem. That's a self-organizing, adaptive, and innovative network that truly creates value together. So what's the timeline for this revolution? I mean, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's a phased strategic evolution that actually stretches all the way out to 2040. The roadmap is pretty clear. By 2030, the basic framework for this ecosystem should be in place. Then, by 2035, the use of AI is expected to be widespread, making the whole network incredibly resilient and efficient. And then, the long-term vision for 2040 is a fully mature ecosystem, one that can learn, make decisions, and evolve completely on its own. That first major milestone is for 2030, and it is ambitious. The goal is to have 10% of all companies in this ecosystem operating at that highly collaborative iMsH 3 level. And here's what that 2030 target actually looks like broken down. The goal is for half the industry to have reached that networked Level 2 stage. About 40% will still be at Level 1, but that pioneering 10%, the ones operating at Level 3, they're going to be the trailblazers, proving this whole model works and pulling the rest of the industry into this new era. Which brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. This whole transformation, it's about way more than just building cars faster or cheaper. We're talking about creating a totally new kind of economic entity, an intelligent ecosystem that can sense, respond, and evolve almost like a living thing. And that just raises this huge question. What does it mean for the future of business when our supply chains can actually start to think for themselves?